She wasn't here to start over. She was here to escape. Escape from gaslighting and all the abuse she faced from Marcus, her ex. She almost lost her life and she learnt the hard way. Lila stepped out of the driver's seat and just stood there for a moment. No rushing, no fear of who might be watching, no phone buzzing with messages she didn't want to see. Her palms rested on the roof of the car, steadying herself as if the world around her might move without warning. She let out a breath she'd been holding for far too long. She arrived before the sun had fully climbed over the rooftops, her car rolling slowly onto a quiet street just outside Denver. The neighborhood was the kind of place people drove past without thinking, neat lawns, soft-colored houses, wind chimes tapping lightly in the breeze. But to her, it looked like freedom. A moving truck was already waiting at the curb. The driver nodded, ready to be done with the job. Lila opened the trunk and began lifting boxes, stacked, taped, and labeled from her previous life. Her hands were careful, but not fragile. She hadn't broken. She had simply left. The small rental house in front of her wasn't remarkable. Light blue paint, a short porch, a mailbox that leaned a little to the left. The kind of house no one remembers after passing. Perfect. Invisible. Untraceable. She walked up the short path and pushed the front door open. Inside, the rooms felt still. Not empty, just waiting. Light filtered through thin curtains in long, gentle beams. She set the first box down and sat on the floor beside it. No furniture yet, no sound except her own breathing. She closed her eyes, and for a moment something flickered behind them, Marcus's face. The voice that could turn quiet sweetness into something sharp in an instant. The knock at the door that had come too late at night. His eyes watching her car mirror as she drove away from his apartment the last time. She opened her eyes again and the memory dissolved like smoke. This place was safe. It had to be. When she went back outside to grab another box, she noticed movement across the street. A woman, watering her front garden. Short gray hair, bright cardigan, soft smile that didn't look forced. The woman waved, cheerful and easy. "Welcome," she called out, like she had been waiting for Lila to arrive. Lila hesitated at first. Old habits, keeping distance, staying aware, protecting herself. But she lifted her hand and waved back. A small gesture, but it felt like opening a window. She carried more boxes inside. Kitchen supplies. Blankets. Books. A single framed photograph of her and her sister, arms around each other, laughing in summer sunlight. She placed the picture on a windowsill facing the yard. For the first time, the house began to look like someone lived there. Later, she took a slow walk down the street. Not fast, not glancing over her shoulder, not calculating escape routes. Just walking. Children pedaled bicycles on the sidewalk. A dog barked lazily from a porch. A man washed his car in a driveway, nodding politely as she passed. Life moved here, but softly. Not loud. Not intrusive. No one stared. No one watched too closely. She didn't realize how tightly she had been clenched inside until now. Her shoulders lowered. Her spine relaxed. She breathed, deeply, without waiting for something to go wrong. By dusk, the sky turned a cool purple. Crickets chirped. Windows lit up one by one like constellations on Earth. Lila stood on her porch, keys in one hand. The porch light hung above her, simple, warm, glowing amber. She reached up and switched it on. The light spilled down the steps, a soft golden pool on the wooden boards. She felt something inside her settle. This light, it made the night feel less wide, less unknown. It made the house feel claimed. Hers. Inside, she locked the door and moved slowly through the quiet rooms. She didn't check the windows twice. She didn't listen for footsteps outside. She made tea. Wrapped herself in a soft gray blanket. sat beside the window where the porch light glowed steady. She rested her forehead lightly against the glass. The street was still. Peaceful. Unaware of the past she had carried here. She smiled. Small, gentle. The kind that forms when the world finally loosens its grip. She believed she was safe. For now, she was. Morning comes soft and cool, and Lila meets it with quiet purpose. She ties her running shoes on the porch while the neighborhood stretches awake. The road ahead is simple, steady, familiar. She runs the same loop each day, past the school with the flag swaying lazily, past the open field where the grass bends in the wind, past the row of houses that look nearly identical but somehow comforting. Her breath falls into rhythm. Her footsteps sound like belonging. She returns home flushed and calm, a light sheen of sweat on her skin, the kind earned from effort and not fear. She showers, changes into soft clothes, and fills her kitchen with warm smells, cinnamon one evening, chocolate chip cookies another, banana bread cooling on a wire rack the next. She laughs easily now on the phone with her sister, leaning against the counter, telling her she's finally sleeping better, finally thinking clearly, finally breathing like a person who has her own life back. Everything feels normal, she says. And for a while, it does. But normal can shift quietly. It starts with the porch light. Not during the day. Not in the evening. Only at night. Only at the same time. 3:06 a.m. The first night, Lila doesn't notice. She's asleep. But the second night, something stirs her. She wakes and sees it faintly through the bedroom curtain, the porch light blinking in a slow, irregular pulse. Like someone breathing on the other side of a wall. She sits up. Watches it flicker. Waits for it to stop. Eventually, it does. She tells herself lights glitch sometimes. Houses have quirks. It's nothing. The next morning, she replaces the bulb. She checks the switch. She tests it twice. It works perfectly. That night, at 3:06 again, the flickering returns. Long pauses. Sudden flashes. As if signaling. Lila stands at the window, arms folded around herself. She stares at the light until it steadies. She goes back to bed but does not fall asleep quickly. The following morning, she steps outside to get the mail. The air is cool, damp from night dew. And then she sees them. Footprints. Not many. Just 3. Faint, muddy, pressed into the walkway leading directly toward her porch. Adult-sized. Bare. She freezes, her breath a quiet stop in her chest. Maybe a stray dog dragged mud. Maybe a neighbor had stepped through the yard. Maybe she's imagining the shape. She crouches slightly, studying them. The toes. The arch. The heel. They are not smudged. They are footprints. She straightens. Looks up and down the street. Nothing moves. No one watches. The neighborhood looks exactly as it did yesterday, quiet, ordinary. She goes inside. Locks the door a little faster this time. The oven timer beeps, startling her. She hadn't realized she turned it on. Her hands move automatically, sliding a tray of cookies out, but the scent no longer feels warm. It feels out of place. She tastes nothing. The day moves, but her mind doesn't follow it. When the phone rings later, she tells her sister she's fine. She doesn't mention the footprints. She doesn't mention the flickering. She doesn't want to speak them out loud. Words make things harder to ignore. Evening settles. Shadows lengthen. Her eyes begin to search corners without her permission. Every sound seems a little too loud. Every creak a little too sharp. When she pulls the curtains closed, she pauses, noticing how quickly she looked toward the porch. How long she stared, waiting for something to move. She turns on the porch light. Watches it glow. Hours pass. The house grows still. At 3:05 a.m., she is already awake. No alarm. No noise. Just awareness. A silent tightening behind her ribs. The minute changes. 3:06. The porch light flickers. Slow. Then faster. Then slow again. She thought she was safe, but what if someone you ran from is already standing behind you? Hit like and subscribe if you dare, and tell me in the comments, would you sleep tonight if you heard someone whisper your name outside your window? Lila lies in bed, eyes open, staring at the ceiling as the faint pulses of light move through the window blinds and scatter across her walls. The room feels smaller. The night feels closer. She does not get up. She does not look outside. She simply lies there, listening to her own heartbeat, knowing that peace, no matter how carefully built, can tremble with the smallest touch. And the light continues to flicker. The house no longer feels as open as it once did. The air inside seems heavier now, like it's holding something it didn't before. Lila moves through the rooms more slowly, listening without meaning to. Her footsteps are soft. Her breathing is measured. She tells herself nothing is wrong, that she is just adjusting, but she can feel something sitting just beneath her ribs, waiting. The footprints come back the next morning. This time there are two sets, side by side, both leading directly to the porch steps. The mud is darker. Fresher. She stands at the door, one hand on the frame, staring down at them. Her pulse is steady at first, then climbing. She doesn't kneel to look closer this time. She just watches. As if the prints might move on their own. She wipes them away carefully. Not quickly, not frantically, just enough to erase the evidence that something touched her home. The porch light above her seems to flicker at the edge of her vision, though it isn't turned on. Night settles too early. The shadows stretch too long. Lila sits on the couch, blanket around her shoulders, pretending to read a book. The words blur. Her eyes drift toward the window. The outside looks darker than it should. Too still. A sound breaks the quiet. 3 sharp knocks. They come from the front door. She freezes. The book slips from her lap to the floor without a sound. The knocking does not return. She rises slowly, her feet silent. She approaches the door. Her hand hovers near the lock. She listens. Nothing. She unlocks the deadbolt and opens the door just a sliver. The porch is empty. The yard is empty. The street is empty. Only the light wind moves. She closes the door and locks it again. The house is quiet, but Lila is no longer the same woman who moved in believing peace could erase the past. The fear that once tightened her breath has sharpened into something steadier. Not calm, but ready. She sits at her small kitchen table as evening settles. The porch camera feed is open on her phone, screen brightness dimmed. The pepper spray rests beside her left hand. Her right hand stays near her phone. Every movement is deliberate. Her body holds a stillness that feels like focus rather than panic. The porch light glows outside, steady as a heartbeat. She waits. For days the disturbances came like whispers, like tests. Footsteps. Flickers. A doorknob that shifted just enough to say someone was out there. She had spent those nights afraid, eyes wide open in the dark, breath shallow, waiting for something to happen. Not tonight. Tonight, she is prepared. The clock moves slowly. Minutes stretch long. The house hums with quiet. No knocks. No footsteps. No flicker from the porch light. It's the absence of sound that unsettles her. The kind of silence that feels intentional. Watching. The night deepens. She stands and walks to the window, lifting the edge of the curtain. The yard looks ordinary. The street is empty. The air is still. She lets the curtain fall back into place and returns to her spot near the door. Her heartbeat stays steady, but her muscles are coiled. Ready. She glances at the pepper spray again. She places it directly in her hand this time. Her phone is already recording. The house remains silent, but the silence feels full, like something waiting for the right moment. Then it comes. The doorknob turns. Slow. Purposeful. Not frantic, not random. Someone is trying to open the door, testing it, feeling the resistance of the lock. Lila freezes only for a breath. Then she moves. Not backing away, only stepping far enough to see the door clearly while staying out of immediate reach. She lifts her phone, keeps recording, presses the emergency call button. The doorknob turns again. Slightly harder. Metal clicks in small frustrated bursts. Her chest tightens, but her voice is steady when the operator answers. "My ex is at my door," she says. "I have video. I need officers now." The operator responds, calm and quick, promising help is on the way. Another sound on the other side of the door, breathing. Slow. Too close. Then. Lila. Her name. Soft. Familiar. Stained with obsession. His voice. Marcus. Her grip tightens around the pepper spray. The sound of him is enough to bring old memories forward in sharp flashes, his hand around her wrist, his smile that didn't reach his eyes, the way he always acted as if she belonged to him. But that is memory. This is now. She edges toward the window and checks the camera feed on her phone. The porch camera shows him clearly this time. His hair is unkempt. His clothes look slept in. His eyes are fixed on the door with a desperate kind of hunger. He whispers again, too soft to be entirely clear, but the tone is unmistakable, like a plea wrapped in control. Her breath remains steady. She does not speak to him. She does not open the door. She does not run. In the distance, faint but growing, sirens. Marcus hears them too. His whispering shifts into urgency, the rhythm breaking apart. He tries the doorknob harder now, rattling it, pushing against the lock. "Lila, come on, we can fix this, we're supposed to be together, open the door, please, open the door." His voice spirals between pleading and demanding, the tone of someone who believes love and possession are the same thing. The sirens get louder. Blue and red lights flicker against the houses across the street. He turns toward them, realizing too late what's coming. Officers rush the porch steps. Commands shout. Hands grab. His voice rises into something raw and frantic. "We belong together." She knows. She knows. They pull him back. He thrashes. The words twist into a scream that echoes down the quiet street. Then he is in the back of the patrol car, the door slamming shut, the screams muffled. The night goes still again. Lila stands inside, arms still raised, pepper spray still clutched tight. Her knees weaken all at once. She sinks slowly to the floor, back against the wall, breathing in short, shaking bursts, not fear now, but release. The kind that comes when something finally ends. An officer knocks and calls her name gently, asking if she's okay. She nods, voice caught somewhere in her chest. They confirm he will be taken into custody. A restraining order will be filed immediately. She is safe. Finally, she exhales. Outside, the porch light glows steady, solid, warm, unwavering. It has never shone brighter. The summer sun pours over the quiet neighborhood, soft and golden, filling every corner of Lila's small home with warmth. The house she once entered cautiously now feels lived in, claimed. The porch light glows steadily each night, a familiar companion, no longer a shield against fear but a mark of resilience. Its amber glow reflects in her eyes as she moves through her days, reminding her that she has endured and survived. Mornings begin with a gentle rhythm. Lila tends her small garden, hands deep in the soil, planting flowers that bloom in bursts of color. Marigolds, zinnias, daisies. Each seed she plants feels like a small promise to herself, a reassurance that life continues, that growth is possible, even after fear. She waters the garden carefully, noticing how the leaves tilt toward the sun, how the earth crumbles softly between her fingers. After her work in the garden, she takes long walks through the neighborhood. The streets she once watched with tension now welcome her. Children play in yards, neighbors greet one another, dogs bark in the distance. She walks slowly, absorbing the sound of wind through trees, the warmth of the sun on her skin, the quiet sense of belonging she had not known she was missing. Evenings are quieter, filled with reflection rather than worry. She sips tea on the porch, wrapped in a soft blanket, watching the light from her lamp spill across the steps. The porch light, always on, becomes a ritual. It is no longer about vigilance or threat, it is about continuity, about presence. Each night, the steady glow reassures her, a constant in a world she has learned to trust again. She speaks often with her sister, their laughter easy and unguarded, the kind that fills a room with warmth rather than tension. She visits neighbors more frequently now, offering baked goods or stopping to chat. Small interactions build a network of safety and connection that had been absent for so long. She feels seen, known, part of a community, and it is a sensation that restores a sense of normalcy she had thought impossible. Therapy sessions continue, but the focus has shifted. The past is still there, etched in memory, but it no longer controls her. She acknowledges the fear, the nights of trembling, the moments of panic, but she meets them now with clarity and preparation rather than helplessness. She has learned that survival is not simply about escaping danger, it is about reclaiming space, reclaiming time, reclaiming peace. Afternoons are spent inside as well. She reads books she had once abandoned, writes in journals she fills with hopes and observations. Sunlight streams through the windows, casting shadows that move gently across the walls. The light reminds her that even after darkness, brightness finds its way back. Evenings become her favorite time. She sits on the porch, legs stretched comfortably, hands folded in her lap. The air is warm and still. Crickets hum softly in the distance. The porch light glows steadily, the garden rests in its bloom, and the neighborhood seems suspended in calm. She leans back, letting the comfort of her surroundings sink in. Her face softens into a gentle smile, the kind that reaches the eyes, quiet but profound. She watches the sky change from gold to deep pink, then violet, and finally a quiet indigo. Each star that appears reminds her of nights spent wide-eyed in fear, contrasted now with nights filled with reflection and choice. The light from the porch spreads across the steps, over the plants she has nurtured, across the small yard that has become her sanctuary. For the first time in a long while, she feels whole. Not invincible. Not untouched. But present. Anchored. Free. The past is acknowledged, the threat neutralized, and the present is hers to shape. She breathes in the night, the warmth fading into coolness, the quiet filling every empty space. The house stands steady. The street remains calm. The porch light hums softly in its own way, a witness to her strength. Lila's smile lingers as she leans forward slightly, placing her hands on her knees, simply taking in the peace she has fought to earn. Lila sits on her porch, serene and steady, a figure of endurance and triumph. The story does not end in fear, but in reclamation, in strength, in the simple, profound act of surviving and choosing life on her own terms. Lila has not just escaped danger. She has built peace, and it glows as steadily as the light on her porch. The light stayed on, but did it really go out? If you felt that chill creeping up your spine, subscribe now, leave a like, and comment on what you would do if a shadow outside your door refused to leave. Watch carefully, because the next story might already be in your house.